Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday. Blessings to you all. Peace, be still. I come to you today because I want to know if you all are angry about the property that is being destroyed. And I wanted to give you my opinion, my thoughts, and my views about how I felt about the property being destroyed. Okay. Now, before I get into the property being destroyed, I would like to say this. First of all, to the 5-8 supporters, kudos to you guys. Shout out to Babe Nation. I'm glad y'all love y'all queen. But at the end of the day, a few people came over and it was like, well, it didn't come from her. It was from T.I. Guess what, y'all? I can't stand him either. I like his music, but he gets on my nerves because he's a hypocrite as well. So your argument was kind of pointless, but I don't care if Obama put that post up. I still feel the same way, except for the part where I specifically spoke to her because I meant what I said to her, period. Y'all have to hold people accountable for shit. The same way these police officers are not being held accountable and never are. This is why the buildings are burning. So let's talk about the burning buildings and accountability. People don't know why the buildings are burning. People are upset that black people want to burn down the buildings. They don't understand why they're not having peaceful protests. They're not protesting over peaceful circumstances. Understand, those buildings burn for several reasons. Those buildings burn for George Floyd, the way he was murdered in the middle of the day downtown, okay, with witnesses and his co-workers standing there watching him. Government appointed officials, okay, paid for with our tax dollars. That's why those buildings burn. Those buildings burn for every innocent person who has served time in prison for crimes they didn't commit. I saw a man on X Factor, whatever that show with Simon Cowell is, the other night. Spent 37 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. They knew he didn't do it when he went, because the fingerprints didn't match him at all. He even had an alibi, but they didn't care. They needed to charge somebody with the crime. Those buildings burn for him, okay? Those buildings burn for the Breonna Taylors of the world who are murdered at home in their bed, sleeping. And what about the hundreds, thousands, I dare say millions of people who were murdered unjustly? If not so by the police in blue, but in situations just like that, because those buildings also burn for inmates that are killed in prison. Those same police that patrol the streets police the prisons as well, and the jails. All those inmates who mysteriously die in holding cells, those buildings burn for them, okay? Unjust. Those buildings burn for people who've had drugs planted on them, children taken away. Those buildings burn for them. This is a history of repeat offenses that are never, ever, nobody's ever held accountable. And in the hearts of all hearts, these people feel like they're not going to be held accountable for this either. That's why those buildings burn. And I also would like to address all the people who sit back and we all say what we would have done if we were there and all of this. We didn't grow up in Minnesota. They have had 11 incidents in 10 years. Fernando Castillo was just murdered there, and nobody went to prison for his murder either. He was getting a piece of paper out of his glove compartment, and he was murdered with his daughter in the car and his girlfriend in the car, and luckily they were recording, okay? There's always a recording. They only believe it now because it's a recording. Pay attention. That's why those fucking buildings burn. All right? This too shall pass, and we'll be having the same discussion again. The president hasn't even acknowledged the family of these people that have been killed, murdered by his employees. His employees who he's told to rough up people. That's why those buildings burn. You see what I'm saying? Those buildings ain't burning for no reason. What's more important to you, the building or the people? Because Mike Pence put out a tweet last night and he said, we care about property and people. Property was first. We bought into the hype as black people. Yeah, we believe that they're wrong. They shouldn't tear up the property. They're destroying their community. Their community was already destroyed. Someone was murdered downtown in the middle of the day in front of people. Does that sound like a community that you want to be a part of? Huh? Does that sound like a community that you want to continue to thrive in that aspect? See, you guys are thinking about finances again, shopping. That's the focus of every fucking thing at the end of the day. People are appalled. They burned down a Target. Target can revamp that shit tonight. Well, they got all the shit they need. They can throw that shit back together if they need to. They burned down an AutoZone. But they killed a man in the middle of the street, in the middle of the daytime, in front of people. Do you understand why the buildings burn? The significance is like the building is more important than the people, and the dog is more important than the man. That's why the buildings burn. People who are denied medical attention, that's why the buildings burn. A friend of mine's son died in police custody when they could have took him to the hospital 3 minutes away. One of the officers wanted to. The other one said no. Buildings burn, baby. It's not about the fucking building. It's about what has pushed these people to respond in this manner. You want a peaceful response to murder and injustice. You want peaceful responses to that. Black people, the upper echelons, the upper crust of people who probably don't have many run-ins with the law, want to protect property and not the people. Because understand, those same people have been broken. Those same people have been abused by the system. Those same people have been suffering. Those same people who get arrested for some bullshit and end up in jail for 4 months because they can't make bond. A $500 bond. Sometimes they set your bond at $4.99, so you can't even get a bondsman. Okay? So you got to have that $499, where if you had $500, if your bond is $500, you can get a bond and pay him 10%, $50. But if your bond is $499, you have to come up with that $499. And let's not forget Khalif Browder, who spent all that time over there on Rikers Island over a fucking book bag, was abused, beat, all kind of shit, and ended up killing himself after being released. Those buildings burn. Central Park 5, those buildings burn. See, y'all don't think about that. Y'all thinking about economics because, we own a home and we live in a good neighborhood and, things are great for us. So those people who don't have shit and they, they deserve that. They're lazy, they're bums. No, motherfuckers, them buildings burn. All right? It can happen to any one of us. It can happen to any one of our children. It doesn't matter. That's horrible what those people are experiencing, what people are experiencing. There are 20 cities in the United States of America currently. That was last night. Now, I don't know who's rioting today or who's marching today. I'm sure there are more. But those people are not marching for no reason. Those buildings burn. There was a young lady in her home playing Xbox or PlayStation with her nephew. Somebody called the police, said somebody had a gun. They didn't even knock on the door. They shot her through the window and killed her in front of her nephew. Those buildings burn. You think that didn't affect her nephew? You think mentally that he's not going to be fucked up for the rest of his life over that, whether he learned how to deal with it or not? Them buildings burn. Rodney King. Y'all forgot? The buildings burn. Amadou Diallo. Abner Louima. Eleanor Bumpers. Anthony Baez. Hello? Eric Gardner. Sandra Bland. Those are the names that are out there, but there's so many more. The young man, I wish I could call his name, but there's a young man that I grew up with. He was in a car accident, and his car went down an embankment. This young man has never had a problem with anybody. Car went down the embankment. When the police, I guess when they opened up the door, he was a big dude, so they're like, he don't know where he at, what the hell happened. He's flailing. They tase him. He had a heart attack. He just had an accident. The buildings burn. The buildings burn. My other people's son died in custody, like I said. Hospital 3 minutes away. Could have took him to the hospital. One officer said, fuck that. Nah, we ain't doing it. Buildings burn. Y'all got to understand there's pain behind the buildings burning. It ain't just because these people want to destroy property. It's because they've been destroyed. Period. They've been destroyed. They've been abused. What happened to you reap what you sow? Where are them Bible verses at that y'all always putting out there? No, y'all only remember forgive, forgive, forgive. We don't want to forgive. We want motherfucking action. We want y'all to make and implement some laws. I want y'all to stop calling me black folk on fucking TV. I ain't never heard them say Italian folk, European folk, Mexican folk. Black folk is some shit back from slavery, and I hear black people saying it, and it disturbs me, and we need to stop it. We are black people. Check the fucking wording. Like they said, like Mike Pence said, property and people. He put property first because he don't give a shit about you. All right? And don't be calling me no goddamn folk. I'm a person. We are black people. Like I said, I ain't never heard them say, oh, European folk. Oh, the Asian folk. No, it's Asian people. It's European people. It's black people. No, black folk. Oh, black folk. Anything that came from the motherfucking... Back then, we dead that shit. Everything. Because it's all disrespectful and got negative undertones. But we need to understand why them buildings burn. Stop being mad at our own people. Understand. Acknowledge their fucking pain. Just because you haven't experienced it firsthand doesn't mean it doesn't happen. See, and what y'all fail to understand is like, white people, they just seeing the video. They believe it now. This, because, they thought y'all was lying. It's an exaggeration. They're not really doing that because then they would have to acknowledge that their own people are fucked up. So they're not going to do that. But now it's just out in the open, and it is what it is. It's been out in the open. This is not the first video. What about Tamir Rice? Running away from the police, shot in the back. Another young man, his name popped up. I wish I could call it. Running from the police, shot in the back. That's a recent case. That happened in the last 30 days. But here we are, not understanding why the people are destroying property. Property versus people, man versus dog. Like I said, Central Park Becky bitch, she didn't lose her job over that man. She lost her job for choking that damn dog. Period. It ain't had nothing to do with that man. It was about that dog. And even this Chauvin bastard that's in custody. Is he still in custody? What is his bond? What's his status? We need to know these things. Is he out? Could be. They lying about the autopsy. They said that there was no signs of asphyxiation or strangulation. So therefore, those buildings burn. They already playing with us. They already telling us that what we saw was a lie. We didn't see that man get choked out. We didn't see him foaming out of his mouth. We didn't see them kill him right there. We didn't see him put his handcuffed, unresponsive body on that stretcher. We didn't see that. So I don't give a fuck what an autopsy report says. That's what we saw. But they will try to use that, and that will be the reason why he gets off. But how can we trust an autopsy from a coroner in that county when they all in cahoots together? That should have never even happened. They should have never even had the ability to do that autopsy because it is a corrupted system. The judges, the bad sentences, the false arrests, the lies, the truth never comes out. They have body cams. We never get the truth until later on. Those buildings burn. Ahmaud Arbery, those people didn't get arrested until when Facebook got a hold of that video and the people got into it. Those buildings burn, all right? Breonna Taylor, ain't nobody been arrested yet. Them buildings burning. That's why those buildings are burning. So when y'all see the flame and y'all see the destruction and y'all see the anger and y'all see the fucking pain, understand where it's coming from. Don't think they're just being destructive. Black people always tearing up shit. Why are they tearing up shit? Those buildings burn. Try to have as best day you can. Disconnect from this bullshit if you have to. Jada Nerd, my love, I am here for you. You can email me, ddlove at, what is it? Love and hate with ddlove@gmail.com. Anybody who want to email me, whatever. But understand why the buildings burn. The buildings are not burning because black people are destructive and don't want shit and don't appreciate shit and don't want a good quality of life. They can't have one if they're being murdered in the middle of downtown in the fucking afternoon in front of people and witnesses, and nobody can do anything. Okay? What options do they have? They're angry, and they have every right to be. It goes on everywhere all the time. False arrest, false imprisonment. And then y'all saw the CNN anchor was arrested on video And that was a perfect example of how it goes down. The police rolled up on him. He said, what's going on? No answers. Where are we going? No answers. He said that one of the officers said to him, hey, I'm just following orders. He don't even know what the orders are, but he was told to pick this innocent man up and arrest him. See, that was a perfect example of why those buildings burn. Understand that can be you. You can be driving along, picked up, stopped at a traffic stop, and imprisoned for some bullshit that you didn't do and have nothing to do with, and you have no options. They don't have to let you call anybody. Nobody has to know where you are or what happened to you. Buildings burn because of the treatment, the mistreatment of our community for hundreds and hundreds of years. That's why them buildings are burning. I'm telling you. You cannot be mad at your people. You may not appreciate it. You may wish they would do it a different way, but I need y'all to understand why them fucking buildings are burning. Those buildings are burning for the pain that has been caused and inflicted upon us and our people, and it's still going on. You would still think that it is 1932. 1946. 1954. Alabama church bombings. Y'all forgot about all of that. They just bombed some churches in the South. And then they say the FBI is going to pick it up. What that mean? What does that mean? They're in all the agencies. They're in the education system, the judicial system. Everywhere. Them buildings burn. Those buildings burn. You cannot be mad at your people. Understand the pain that they are going through. Just because you made it, just because you have a nice house that you own and you have great credit, don't look down upon the people down there in the struggle. And you never know when your day is coming. You never know when they're going to Rodney King your ass. We forget about all of that. This shit is wild. But that's why them buildings burn, baby. We're not going to sit here and act like we don't know why, we don't relate. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. Oh, it's disgraceful. Oh, they just destroy all their own shit. Oh, niggas don't ever want shit. Did y'all see what we saw? Did y'all feel what we felt? That's when you saw it, but how many times has it happened and there's been no proof? Or they got the proof and they got rid of it? Oh, what's my man, the baby's name? Oh my God. Sean in New York shot outside the strip club the night before his wedding. Y'all forgot about him too? The buildings burn. What about all those affected families? You think that they don't understand why them buildings burn? Because see, a lot of y'all have been programmed to forgive everything. Forgive everything. Forgive. They don't forgive us for shit. We don't get an opportunity to forgive. We gotta forgive for being in prison for shit we didn't do. We gotta forgive for being black. You gotta be forgiven for being black. You know what I'm saying? You can't show your true blackness. You can't really show black pride. You can't really love yourself and your people in the face of them. You gotta bow down at all times. You gotta bow down at work. You gotta bow down to the police. We always have to give respect, but yet none is rarely given. We got to earn ours all the time. No matter how we're treated, no matter what they say to us, you got to suck that shit up. That's why them buildings are burning. Let me know what y'all think. Do you understand why the buildings burn or no? Let's talk about it.